Inspiring Vanessa here. Welcome back to the Inspiring Vanessa Show podcast. And today I have a very exciting guest with me today. It is such an honor to be interviewing KIRLY Sue for the second time actually. And today we're going to be talking about her brand new Cooking with Kids, brand new vegan cookbook. So, let me just introduce you first of all, because your introduction is very, very lovely. KIRLY Sue is a vegan social media influencer, food writer, radio and TV presenter, and published author. So, how are you feeling today about today's interview?
I'm quite excited.
Yes, so am I.
Yes.
And you also brought some delicious pumpkin and raisin vegan cupcakes, which we'll be trying out later in this interview, so we get stay tuned for that. But without further ado, let's get straight into this interview. So, KIRLY Sue, why did you create a vegan cookbook aimed for kids? Why didn't you just make one for adults?
Well, I didn't set out originally to make a cookbook for kids. It kind of came about with the opportunity. So what I didn't know is I'm on different social media platforms, and what I didn't know is that somebody from a particular publishing company was following me on social media. So then they reached out and they said, we'd like you to come in for a meeting because we'd like you to do a book. So I thought, oh yeah, great, I'm going to do this in the book, I'm going to do that in the book. So I had all my ideas of what I was going to do. So when I had the meeting with them, they said, I told them my ideas, and they said, actually, we would like to pitch an idea to you. Would you do a kids cookbook? And I thought, oh, okay. And they showed me like a mock-up of the book and the sort of things they were interested in. And I thought, well, opportunities don't always come in exactly the way you want it. So it's about going with the opportunity, providing, you know, it ticks enough boxes, which obviously it did. So I said to them, yeah, sure, I can do a kids cookbook, no problem. So that's why I did a kids cookbook.
Oh, that's so interesting, because like most incredible things always come like not on purpose, so they don't come up intentionally. So if it weren't for the publishers giving you that idea, you would never have made a cooking book, a vegan cookbook for children, which is actually
Probably
really
not.
important.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the meaning behind the title of the book? Because obviously you can see on the title that it says cooking with kids and not cooking for kids. So what's kind of the meaning behind that? Why is there not for?
Well, what I learned is when you have a publishing deal, the publishers have a big hand in what happens. So they came up with the title, and the meaning behind the title is it's not just recipes that you cook for kids. It's recipes that are simple enough so you can get the child involved in cooking with you. So that's why it's cooking with kids, not for kids. So they can be part of the process as well and get experience and be confident in creating nice recipes.
And it definitely like creates an element of like cooking with your family instead of cooking for your family in a way. So how long did it take you to create and put the book together? Obviously you needed to find the publishers, put all the recipes together. So tell me how that process turned out.
Well, prior to getting the publishing deal, I always collect different recipes because I am actually a vegan myself. I have to say that because there are people who do vegan things and they're not vegan. So I always collect recipes. I always have recipes on my computer. I'm always creating new ones and tweaking things. So I always have a bank of recipes. So when the publishers said, oh, we want it to be a kids cookbook, what happens is they give you a contract. Once you sign the contract, in the contract it tells you when you need to deliver the text, because basically you just send them the text and they create everything else, which they did an amazing job with the graphic design, the photos and everything. So all I had to do was get them the text, but that kind of sounds simple, but it's not. So it was a 4-month period that they gave me initially to say, we need all the recipes by this date. But prior to the recipes, they said, send us a list of all the recipes that would go in the book. So you send that to them first and then they approve it, and then they say, right, send us all the recipes. But not just the recipes, there's a little blurb before each recipe, some, you know, what inspired you to do the recipe, you know, why have you got this recipe in the book. So I had to write all of that as well. And then at the beginning of the book, it's got lots of different information, how to become a vegan, all of that stuff. So I sent them all the recipes, I hit the deadline, and then they came back and they said, we like what you've done, but we need more. So I thought, okay. So I sent them one more page of text and they said, that's really good, but we need more. So I thought, okay, how can I knock this out of the park? So I sent them 14 pages
oh
of
my
text.
goodness.
And they went, excellent, that's what we wanted. So I sent them all of that, and then they were like, yes, this is done now. So there's a process. So once they've got all the information from you, then it goes to a number of different people in the publishers, and it goes back and forth to you for you to kind of, they usually have questions or queries, and then the graphic designer shows you the initial layout and says, right, this is what we're thinking. Is there anything in here that jumps out at you that might be incorrect? So that, I mean, it was really great. There was just a couple of minor things, but yeah, that's kind of the process.
Was your initial intention to be with a publishing company, or were you thinking about self-publishing before you actually found the publisher?
To be honest, I wasn't aware. Well, no, I know you can get a publishing deal, but I didn't know I would get one, because, you know, people say, oh, well, I didn't know, it just dropped in my lap, and you think, yeah, sure. Well, this was like totally unexpected. I did not expect them to approach me and say, we want to have a meeting, because when they said that, I thought, oh, right,
my goodness.
Something's happening, oh good, yeah. So I didn't expect it to happen. I wanted it to happen, but I didn't expect it to, so I suppose with what I do on social media and just, you know, keep networking and so forth, something's going to happen at some point, I suppose, yeah.
Because I was looking through the book, and all like the graphic designs of it are so interesting to me. Even as a 13-year-old, I'm like, wow, so many like lovely colours to look at, and obviously the images in the beginning of it, which I think is super important, where it's talking about like why you should become a vegan and how you can like change the different ingredients. So what inspired you to create like the beginning of the book and actually giving all that information? Because usually people are just like, let's just get straight into the recipes, but obviously we had like a starting introduction to how you can start the vegan recipes.
Well, this is the great thing about having a publishing deal. You think, well, yeah, I'll just put recipes in a book, and at the beginning I'll just I like to thank my mom and my dad and everybody who's going to buy the book and all that. Well, no. So the publisher said we need a lot of information at the beginning, because they said, remember, this book is not going to just be sold in the UK, it's going to be sold in a number of different countries. So we know that a global audience would want this information, that information and so forth, and it may not be available to everybody in all countries, so we need to put it in the book. So like the recipe conversion, you know, the measurement conversions and all of that stuff in there. So that's why it's got so much stuff at the beginning, because they told me this is a good idea. So I thought, okay, I'll go with it.
So what is your favourite recipe that is in the book? Because I know it's mainly aimed for children, but yeah, some of the recipes I personally love, especially the cupcakes. I've eaten 2 of them myself already. But what's your favourite? What is your favourite recipe in the book?
Well, they're all my favourite. But if I had to choose one, what my most favourite dish is stew peas and rice. So stew peas is kidney beans cooked in coconut milk with seasonings, which is a Jamaican dish, and this is a vegan version of it, because the traditional Jamaican dish has got meat in it, but I created a vegan version of it, and that's my favourite one in the book because it's my favourite dish. Oh. And then you have that, traditionally you'll have that with a side dish of plantain, and I love plantain, is my staple diet. So that's the one. And for the dessert, I think the strawberry ice cream, which is obviously not dairy, it's made from frozen banana and strawberries and bejeweled eggs and so forth. I love that, because it's, whenever I've done live cooking demos, when I do that one, as soon as I say the samples are ready, there's like whoosh of people.
I find it so fascinating, because when we've tried some of your recipes, and it's like the vegan version of just like a normal food, they taste very, very accurate, and sometimes they even taste better than the actual original foods. I just find it so interesting, like how all the recipes come together. So obviously this is a vegan cookbook. Can meat eaters use these recipes, and why?
This is the beauty of a vegan cookbook. If you have a vegan cookbook, it's suitable for vegans, vegetarians, flexitarians, meat eaters, pescatarians, because there's nothing that those people who are not vegan can't have, unless they're like gluten intolerant and so forth. But in the book it does tell you if there's gluten and stuff in there in most cases. So for me, I think even if you are a meat eater, if you just want to try something different, if you just want to try, you know, meat-free Monday, or you just think, what's all this vegan stuff about? I've even had adults buy the book and they said, I'm really new to vegan cooking, so I know if it's for kids, I'll definitely be able to cook it. So a lot of beginner or people who are not great at cooking, and they said, right, I want to cook vegan and I can't cook, so these are simple, so I'll do those recipes. So yeah, it's open to everyone.
When you created the book, what was one element you wanted to have in the book? Because obviously there are lots of interesting elements that are like included in the book. What was one thing that you're like, I love the book, I want to create the book, I don't mind doing it for kids, but what was something that you just really wanted to have in the book?
Well, that was kind of already answered for me when I had the initial meeting with the publishers, because I wanted it to be vibrant and colourful, and I wanted it to look like something that you look at and you think, oh, this is interesting. I wanted it to look vibrant and interesting, because sometimes there's still a bit of a stigma with vegan and vegetarian. People say, oh, it's a vegetarian looking dress or something, and meaning it doesn't look nice. So I wanted it to have an image of colour and taste and interest, and I think the graphic designer Abigail Murphy hit the nail on the head.
She definitely did. Yeah. Shout out to Abigail. I love all the graphics so much.
I love this picture on the front.
Yes, it is lovely. And time to try out some delicious cupcakes. Obviously they have some lovely cooking with kids stickers on them.
Yeah.
So
edible stickers.
Yeah. Can you kind of walk me through how you made the cupcakes?
These are one of my favourite kind of cupcakes, because you just put everything together. You mix together all the wet ingredients, and then you mix together all the dry ingredients. You put them together, mix them, use an ice cream scoop to scoop them out, so you have roughly the same amount in each cupcake case. Put it in there, oven 25 minutes, done. Yeah. And then for the toppers, the cake toppers, I just used a tiny bit of icing to stick them to the cake, and that's it. Yeah.
Well, it has been so lovely being on this interview with you, Curly Sue. But obviously we need to let everyone know, where can they buy this incredible vegan cookbook?
Well, the book is available from my website, which is of course, KirlySue'sKitchen.co.uk. Curly spelt K-I-R-L-Y, KirlySue'sKitchen.co.uk. And as you go enter the website, you can't miss where to get the book from. It's right in your face. It's available there. And it's available worldwide, because the publishers distribute to any country in all 208 countries recognised by the UN.
Could we be expecting another book coming up soon?
Yes, there is. Not yet though, but yeah, there's one coming down the pipeline, but not quite yet, because obviously this one is still being pushed for sale. So yeah, but in the future there will be more. Yeah.
Well, I just cannot wait to see what other books or what other incredible recipes you're going to show me, Curly Sue. But thank you so much for being on this interview. It's
Thank you for having me.
An honour to be on the first interview of January and the first interview of 2020 on the Inspiring Vanessa Show podcast. So before we do wrap up this interview, don't forget to go and follow Curly Sue on all her social medias, and to continue following what she's going to be doing next. And without further ado, we will see you guys on our next show. Bye bye.